What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, the Hamilton Trained Podcast. If you are new here, welcome to the show. My name is Jared Hamilton, and I'm really grateful that you're here. I don't know if you're watching the video or not, but I'm kind of playing with the idea of like holding the mic instead of having it like in the boom arm. I just kind of like holding it, so that's kind of what we're going to play with. Anyway, like I said, I'm really glad that you're here. I have tried recording this intro like 5 different times just because like stuff keeps happening. Like I keep stuttering, or I didn't turn on like my recording software, or like whatever, or like the dog does something. Anyway, so we are just going to go at this thing and see what happens. Hopefully this is the last time though. Like what do they say? Like 8th time is the charm or something like that. But anyway, today's episode is a really cool episode. I'm actually interviewing a good friend of mine. His name is Chase. And Chase is a very different kind of story. So when it comes to weight loss and transformation, we see mostly, like even in my content, we're talking about losing, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds, right? Well, Chase has lost he's lost, I think it was, I always mess it up. I should have looked at my show notes before this, but we're rolling. It was either 160 or 180 pounds. Either way, he gets into it specifically in the episode, but like, I'm telling you, it's a crazy story because you have transformation and then you have what I call like extreme transformation where you're losing a lot more. Like, I mean, imagine like, let's say in Chase's case, like with like 180 pounds. Well, think of it this way. Imagine losing 90 pounds, which is a huge feat. But then you have to lose like another 90, right? Like that's why it takes, in my opinion, a different kind of discipline and motivation and resiliency, just because like the journey is even longer. Like we all know losing 20 pounds takes a lot, right? Like just losing 20 pounds, you have to be consistent. You have to be disciplined. It's going to take longer than what you want. But when you're weighing a lot more and you've got like 100, 150, 170, 180 pounds to lose, that changes the game entirely. So, and then one would argue you have even more messed up conditioning around food and things like that. So Chase though has lost all the weight, and has kept it off. It's not just like, cause like we've talked about before, like it's not just losing the weight that matters. It's how you keep it off and how your life is. Like, can you have a happy quality of life after, or did you lose it in an unsustainable way? So Chase and I talk about all of this stuff, about his journey, about headspace stuff, about sustainability, all these things now. And Chase, here's what's crazy with Chase's story. It's come full circle where Chase actually is a coach now. It's absolutely the coolest thing ever, seeing his journey in a relatively short period of time, like, weighing in the 400s of pounds, losing a ton of weight, and then now becoming a coach that helps people that were in the situation he was in. It's really cool. So I think you're going to enjoy this episode. But before we get into it, before I get Chase on the line, I do want to have a big thank you to the sponsors of the show. Wow, words are hard. Like I said, we are doing this one take. We are not redoing it. It's been one of those days, guys. So big thank you to the sponsors of the show. First of all is Flex Pro. I actually just finished one of their meals. I just had their fajita skillet because I don't know if you've seen some of my shorter content lately, but things in my world lately have just been crazy. Things have been stressful and all over the place and unpredictable and just busy as hell. So I've been using Flex Pro way more than normal, just because like right now we don't have any food made, but I have a whole stack of Flex Pro meals in my fridge, right? Or it'd be really easy to just run through a drive-through like last night was one of those nights where I was just hungry. We didn't have food made, and I was literally thinking about just running over to Wendy's, but I said nah, and I went into the fridge and got a Flex Pro because they taste great, they're satiating, they're made by a chef, and they're dialed in at your macros. Like the one I just had was delicious, and it was like, I don't actually have the wrapper right in front of me. It was only like, it's like 35 grams of protein. It was not even 300 calories. Yeah, 285 calories. And it was a meal. So I'm telling you, it's a big deal, especially if you're in that situation where just life is crazy and you need help with keeping things predictable in an unpredictable world, if you will. But either way, definitely go check them out. Check out their menu. You'll be blown away at what they have, because I want to save you some money if you ever do end up getting anything. So go to flexpromeals.com and you can use my code Hamilton Trained and I'll save you 20% at checkout. So it's a pretty big deal. Then the second sponsor of the show is First Form. Been leaning into these guys more because again, things are crazy. So having protein shakes and making sure my joints are taken care of and using some of their energy supplements more, like the whole 9 yards, because things are fucking bonkers, guys. I'm telling you. But it's okay. But either way, I'm telling you, it's a big deal. I love First Form. It's a huge thank you to them. They always take care of me. Everything from across the board with all their stuff. There's no one else I trust like them. They're not only like my favorite supplement company on the market, but they're literally one of my favorite companies across the board in general, just the way they do their thing, the way they care, the way what they stand for, the whole everything. So be sure, if you're in the world of taking supplements and you want to make sure what you're taking is like the best, it's going to help you the most, it's going to make you feel better, it's going to make you recover better, which is ultimately going to make you better or take you better to your goals. So go check them out. The link is in the description. I have a special priority free shipping. Guys, I'm telling you, I can't talk today. I have a special free priority shipping link in the description below. So unless you're into paying for shipping, if that's you do you, but definitely go check out the link, check out what they have. Because the cool thing with First Form is it's not like when I recommend supplements, it's like, okay, go get your fish oil from this company and then go get your protein powder from this company. Oh, and go take this energy thing from this company. It's like, I can with everything in my heart, I can send someone to First Form for whatever they have, and I know they're taken care of. So definitely check that out. Otherwise, I'm going to quit talking now because I'm kind of rambling and my brain isn't working. So we're going to get into it today with Chase, and I will talk to you soon. All right, we're recording. What's up, bro? How are you?
Doing well, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. Playing catch up. We were people listening. We were talking just pre-recording just about all the playing catch up on a million things. So we'll put our phone on vibrate. All right. So thank you again, dude, for doing this. I know it was a little bit short notice and stuff. So for those people that don't know you, why don't you talk for just a second about like who you are and your story, and especially kind of like the, pre-Chase, like before you lost all the weight and stuff.
Yeah. So I'll make this as sweet and short and condensed as I can. But I have always grown up the chubbier kid. I was not very active, so to speak. Even like when I was growing up, I think I played like one round of t-ball when I was like growing up, and like that was sports for me. Like, and then I was done after that point. Moving forward, I continued just to, I excelled in school and such, but I was never really an active person. And even as I started to grow older into my teenage years and then like my mid-teens, then I gained freedom and independence. And that is where I really identify where I really started to struggle the most with my eating and just really lost that sense of control, really. And I think that's when I started to really get that unhealthy relationship with food. I got my license, I was driving, I was able to, stop at any drive-through, stop at any store, and, no one would ever know that what I was doing.
I can go to Taco Bell and no one knows. Let's go.
Exactly. Then, discard the evidence, and, no one ever had a clue. So that was kind of like the very beginning of like the waterfall of issues with my health as they started, and really started to put on the weight. And then I was always one who every New Year's, it was like, all right, this is going to be the year. This is the year every year. And I would try to lose the weight, whatever fad diet was popular at the time. Nutrisystem, Atkins diet, Weight Watchers, you name it. I've probably tried some form of it. Go 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then plateau, quote unquote, and get really fed up with it and just say, fuck it and stop. And then I put the weight right back on and keep putting on more throughout the year. And then it was just an endless cycle. Every year I would do the exact same thing. Fast forward to 2019, I was at my heaviest, 382 pounds. And a friend of mine, a coworker, she challenged me to a weight loss challenge. She just, shout out to Brandy. She said that, let's just see who can lose the most weight, and we were like setting like these like funny little goals. Like, every month we'll check in, like whoever has lost the least has to, pay for we'll go to a concert, or we'll go to like out to dinner somewhere nice. Another one has to pay for it, just making fun of it. Sure. And some type of competition. And about a month or so in, I was losing a ton of weight. The first month I lost like 30 pounds.
Holy shit.
Now, granted, though, and I like to remind people when I say that, it's awesome that is, I know now a lot of that was water weight. I mean, like I was 382 pounds. I had a lot to lose.
Yeah.
So, that really kind of got the ball rolling, got really excited about it. And we ditched the competition just because, I had a lot more to lose than she did. She was crushing it as well, but I was still losing a lot faster than I was just because I had more to lose. So we decided to stop the competition, but we were both pushing each other. We were going to the gym. I was just going to a local YMCA in my hometown. and just eating better. At the time, I started with intermittent fasting, just because, again, that was like the go-to thing back in 2019, I believe. And when I started that, after like a month or two, I was like, all right, I like breakfast too much. This isn't working for me. And that was about the time when I started to learn more about calories and started, following, more coaches in the space that were, making a lot more sense of what an actual calorie deficit was and how really like your calories is all that matters, when it comes to fat loss. There's a lot of other little things, but when it comes down to fat loss, you don't have to have a fat diet to lose weight. You can just create calorie control and take it from there. And that was when I stopped the fasting and really got into that. By about April or so, I met up with Josh. He wasn't my coach until later that year, but we met up with him, and he invited me into his group. That was when I first got that sense of community and really getting involved with like,
so important.
Oh man, like that right there, just having the motivation. And that's actually how it was funny. That's how he got me into his group initially, was he had shared something on his stories about like, does seeing other people's progress motivate you? And I was like, yeah, it does. And, I answered the poll, and he's like, all right, well, I have this group, you should come join. And that's when I ended up in his group, and he started helping me out throughout the summer and such, just kind of just as a friend and a coach in the space. And by end of May, I had lost 100 pounds. So less than 5 months.
Wow.
Was pretty awesome. And yeah, I wasn't even expecting to lose 30, 40 pounds when I started all this. So here it is May, in the middle of May, and I've lost 100 pounds, which just incredible to me.
Well, let me ask you this then. Let me interrupt you for a second. So
yeah,
because it's relevant right now, would you ever suggest to someone like to lose 100 pounds in 5 months, like knowing what you know now? So for you, when you were like, okay, I probably lost it too fast.
Probably so. But now that I know, I look back and I was actually talking to Jordan Side about this, and he brought up a good point where like these people, like, they go through rapid fat loss,
right?
While it's maybe not the best and healthiest way of losing weight for some who have a lot of weight to lose, like in my case, losing that first big jump initially really helped kind of propel that.
Because I was about to ask that, like, do you think, because the other thing I think, this is why everything in this realm is so contextual. It's not like a one size, because you and I both talk avidly against rapid fat loss protocols and like crazy stuff. But I also understand there's a line there where, let's say, what you said, you were weighing almost 400 pounds, like 380s, right?
382.
So would you say your mental state around, like, let's say hopelessness, around like, wow, I've got a huge journey ahead, would you say you were mentally lower than most people who have to lose like 20 or 30 pounds?
Oh yeah. Because I didn't see the potential for losing. Like I said, I literally thought this was going to be another, 40-pound weight loss.
Sure.
And that was going to be about it.
Yeah. So for you, do you think, let me ask you this then, not like and for people listening, not to take this out of context, like we're saying everyone should just go fucking lose stupid amounts of weight really quickly. But do you think you would be where you're at now if you didn't lose that weight, a decent amount of weight initially, to get you like, oh, wow, I can actually do this?
I really wonder if I would be. I don't know. I feel like, in past years when I have really, tried to diet in the past and it's come off a lot slower, I think that's when I would really get frustrated with myself and kind of beat myself up over it. So yeah. I don't think it would have, probably. It's a great question.
It's so interesting because at the end of the day, for me, it's like we both talk about, like, adherence over everything, right?
Yes.
And like some people go, well, it's not optimal to eat a donut every day. You're right. You're right. It's not. But like, if that keeps you from binging on donuts, then now it becomes optimal, right? Because adherence over everything. So there are times it makes me wonder, and people that's been listening to me for a while, they're like, I can't believe he's even saying that. But there's times I almost wonder if, and again, not to be taken out of context, like a little bit of faster stuff in the beginning, it makes the game adherable. But at the end of the day, also, you needing to lose over 100 pounds, you could still eat a lot and lose that amount of weight. Like you lost, in 5 months, you said you lost like 100 pounds, which that's really fucking fast. But let's say someone's losing 2 pounds a week, 3 pounds a week, but you weigh 400 fucking pounds. Cause like, that's the thing is a lot of people I'll see, that are in the extreme weight loss category, let's say they're eating 5,000 calories a day. Like literally even cutting that in half, or like, let's say to going down to 3,000, you could be completely satiated at 3,000, just eating healthier food. And you were able to lose weight a little bit faster. So like, that's why I've heard the argument about like, well, if you have in the extreme weight loss category, like you got 100 pounds to lose, you could lose more. I don't know how I feel about that, because part of me feels like yes, but then part of me feels like, but then again, your mental place is in a worse spot. And I see a lot of people stay stuck in that because they're like, oh, I'm 300 pounds, 400 pounds. I should be able to lose weight faster. Than they're trapped in the cycle. So I think what do you think about? Do you think it's like contextual? Do you think
I think it definitely is contextual. I mean, it really comes down to, I think, also having expectations. And I think that was something that was really helpful when I met, Josh back, when I first started losing weight. Was like, he kept telling me like, hey, eventually we're going to have to get your calories back up.
Yeah.
Like, this is going great. You're losing a lot of weight, which is awesome, but you're going to have to eventually get your calories up.
Right.
Because this is eventually going to really slow down and you're going to have to do something about it. So I think that have really helped, just having that expectation, even though I didn't want to believe it at the time.
Sure.
I knew it was going to come a day for that.
What was your initial like thoughts with that? Like, so I see with like the people that we work with, and I go, and I'll say the same thing. I say, hey, a storm's are coming. Hey, winter's around the corner. Like, things are dope now. You're losing weight every week, but hey, you and I both know if someone's scale is dropping like weeks linearly, a fucking spike is around the corner. So like for you, when he said, hey, this is great and you're crushing, but what was your initial thoughts to that?
Okay, sure, whatever.
Really?
Pretty much. I mean, like this was like when I was still pretty naive about the whole process and how it actually works. It's like, dude, like I'm losing all this weight. Like literally, like, it's pounds and pounds and pounds every single week. Like it was just falling off.
That's funny.
And probably about midsummer-ish sometime, like it started to slow down. Like I was still losing, but that was about the time also he started telling me to increase my calories more. And it was kind of like, that was scary as shit. Cause I was like, I'm losing the weight. Why don't I do that?
Right. Less calories, more weight loss. More calories, less weight loss. That's what that's the logic, right?
Exactly. So started to like slowly increase calories, and I should also mention to people, when I first started counting calories around April or so, because of my clean eating, quote unquote, aspect of what I was trying to do with losing weight, I was probably only eating 12 to 1,400 calories a day.
Holy shit, bro.
Yes. Like, so I really want to make sure I bring that up as well, which again, that is not good.
Bro, like that's,
but at the time I didn't know.
Sure. Dude, that's like for like 150 pounds Sarah, 1,200 calories is nothing, let alone for a fucking 400-pound dude. That's insane. Did you feel like you were like gonna die? Like that's crazy.
I mean, I think honestly, my mindset took over the physical feelings. Like it was like my mindset was like, holy shit, you're doing this. Like you're doing the damn thing. Like keep going. And I really didn't have time to think about that.
See,
but as the summer went along, go ahead.
No, you're good. It glitched. So go ahead.
Yeah. As the summer went along, he started telling me this. And so I started slowly increasing my calories throughout the summer. And it was about August or so when I really had that big plateau where like everyone worries about, like it's and what he kept warning me about. And that's when he was like, all right, that's when he first was, he was like, we need calories up. We need to go to maintenance for a while, which was still a whole other concept of, scariness for me.
It's fucking terrifying, man.
Yeah. And because to me, that was like giving up, so to speak. Like that to me was like, all right, you have to stop losing weight now. This was before I realized the importance of maintenance. And so that's when we started actually working together in August, and he got my calories up. We were 22, 23, 2,400 calories, feeling much better, working on maintaining. And it actually, throughout the, once we increased calories up into that close to maintenance, like it probably wasn't, I mean, my maintenance was much higher, I'm sure.
Sure.
But like it was getting me going again, it was getting the weight loss going again. Like through the increasing calories, I was still losing inches, losing weight. Body composition was changing like crazy. It was awesome. And it was then closer to about mid-fall, late fall-ish or something like that. We saw like that big goal at the, at the end of the tunnel, that light at the end of the tunnel. And I was like, do you think we can lose 150 in a year? And he was like, let's try it. Let's go into another deficit. I'd been at the higher amount of calories for a while, so we dropped calories. But even when we dropped calories again, I don't think we dropped the lowest 18 and 1900 calories. So definitely not as low as where I was in the very beginning of the year. But anyways, by I think it was December 18th, I hit that goal, 150 pounds lost.
That's crazy, bro.
So then we popped up for actual real maintenance, got my calories back up for the holidays and, be able to enjoy it. And, they just kind of went from there. And that's when I really started to learn the value of maintenance and I started enjoying maintenance. And now I really much more value maintenance and calorie deficit.
I love that. So this is why I wanted to get you on the show and talk about this. Cause first of all, we objectively look at your journey as a human. I mean, you've had some I call it since she just passed away, I call it like a Betty White life. If you think about and this is why I say Betty White was, for all purposes, was a century-year-old. She died 3 weeks before her fucking 100th birthday. It's funny. I heard the funniest joke about it's sad that she died, but I heard kind of a funny joke, and I hope people don't get offended. It was if all of a sudden if out of nowhere COVID bullshit goes away, political and economic things vanish, we know Betty White died for our sins and was our savior. But I heard that and I about died laughing. But anyway, maybe I'm just a fucking piece of shit. But anyway, but the reason I say it your journey is very much what I would call a Betty White life. Is Betty White, being a century-year-old, had think about everything she'd seen in her life, right? From going through the women, think about she grew up in the same lifetime, went from the place where because she was a woman, she was considered the scum of the earth and not worthy of anything because she was a woman. Then women's rights and civil rights and all that happened. And then fast forward now, she's one of the biggest actresses and crazy net worth females on the planet. Right.
Mm-hmm.
In that, just the tip of the iceberg, right? She has a very full, well-rounded, if you want to talk about her 180 journey, right, with her life. That's why with you, not only did you go from you didn't just lose weight and keep it off. You had an extreme weight loss story. You weighed almost 400 pounds. You lost the equivalent of a fucking human, 150 pounds, but then has kept it off. That's the thing is we see, you and I both see people all the time lose weight, but keeping weight off is a different thing. But keeping extreme weight loss off is an entirely different animal. But then the reason why I brought this up, but now you're a fucking coach. Now you're working with people in all walks of life, but especially people who were you. How long ago? When did you? How long ago was this? When you were where you were 400 pounds last or 380?
2019.
Right. So we're not talking about that long ago.
No.
Right. And that's the thing is that's a very crazy story. And then we want to talk about shrinking time. When did COVID become a thing? When was that? It's been 2 years, right? So
yeah.
So right before COVID hit, you weighed almost 400 pounds. And then now it's you're a different human. So, which is crazy. So let me ask you this then, because most of my audience and from, you and I just talking, get really into the headspace, identity, mindset side of stuff. So for you going through this, what kind of, because you can't do what you did and not change mentally, right? Otherwise you would have sabotaged it, right? We teach that all the time.
Absolutely.
So going through that, what was some of the big internal shifts, identity shifts, and mindset stuff that you went through? Fun fact, everybody listening, I have no notes. Chase has no idea what we're talking about. That's just the way we both roll both our podcasts. So
exactly right. That's why I'm that's a great question. Now
I love it. It's so in the moment.
Really making me think about this, which I love. Some of the biggest things I think it's just been realizing that I have the capability to change. I think it would be one really big one. And I think that comes back to the self-sabotage piece of avoiding self-sabotage is telling myself that I can change and that I am capable, because there's so many times that I've seen myself fail that it's almost I think, was it Nick Ross or somebody that said we don't fear failure. We fear success because we don't know what success looks like.
Oh, it's the unknown, right? And everything.
Yeah.
It's funny, even evolutionary at an evolutionary like a animalistic level, our brains avoid unknown because unknown kills us, right? Like if you want to talk about like, don't come out of your fucking cave because there's a tiger out there that's going to rip your face off. So yeah, we do not. It's actually, I always teach this with my clients that in the world, like when people are starting to sabotage, and I'm like, this is one of the best opportunities ever because you notice you've never been this far out before. And they're like, oh, I never thought of that. And it shifts the entire perspective of plateaus and sabotage, where I take it as a sign you're in the right spot, right? Because I always word sabotage and things like that. Like the only reason you're sabotaging is because you're making progress, right? The thermostat only kicks on when the room heats up from where it's set at. Right. Yep. So it's like it shifts perspective instantly from like, oh, I'm sabotaging. Oh, I'm plateauing. It's like, oh, I'm struggling. It's like this. It's because you're making progress. Right. It's like you don't headspace stuff and sabotage wouldn't have to kick in so hard if you weren't crushing it. If you were like not moving forward, it's like the thermostat literally turns off when the room is set on 70 and it's set at 70.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then, another thing that I continue to struggle with, from time to time, and it's something that has continued to take a lot of work. And I think people don't realize this until they've had like an extreme weight loss transformation that I've had. I mean, I know some people have it at all different levels, but the fact that sometimes I can still look in the mirror and see 382-pound Chase, like that's who I literally will see in the mirror. And I know that sounds like very interesting to be able to think that way, but it's like, it's like when I have the rough days in my head, that's when I'm seeing the old Chase. I'm seeing the flaws.
Yeah.
And then there's some days where I have to, that I'll see like all the good things, all the accomplishments that I've had, but it's just like, it's a constant internal battle.
Sure.
Every day. I mean, like, and not a bad way. I'm not saying like, every day is awful and every day is like, I'm beating myself up in my head, but I'm just saying that like, those are common things that I still have to worry about and work with from the day-to-day basis.
I'm convinced because we talk about like the old self, right? In psychology, I'm convinced the old self never truly dies, right? Like I think it gets quiet. I think we make massive internal strides, but I don't believe it's why people will crush something, whatever it is, for years. And out of nowhere, it's like, I haven't struggled with this for fucking 3 years. Why is it coming up now? It's because that's just the thing where I think about it. But then also Kyle Cease, one of my favorite authors, worded it best is too often when it comes to, we'll call it trauma, right? And I'm not like, when I say trauma, I'm not meaning just like, what people label like abused or molested or things like that. When we have a level of emotional trauma, whether it be like anything, mild, medium, whatever, a level of that, when we don't know how to handle it, we suppress it and it basically hides itself in our body somewhere. And Kyle Cease words it beautifully. He says too often, so many times trauma or unresolved stuff is it's almost like going through grades in high school, or that's like in school, where it's like when you're in kindergarten, or let's say you're in first grade, you're not ready for calculus. Calculus is a high school subject. But like when you're going through like first, second, third grade, you've heard this calculus thing, but it's not time for you to go through it yet. So you go through the ranks of school. And then when you get into 9th, 10th grade, all of a sudden calculus, it's like, oh shit, where did this come from? Well, it's now you're at the grade where you can now handle it and where now it comes through and you have to work through it. But so often things that we're personally working through are the same things. It's like, wow, I thought I was over that, but it's like, there's a level of it you weren't ready for. Now that you're in a place where you can handle it, it's like, it comes out, right? Whether that be like a self-acceptance or loving yourself at whatever point in life. There's a million ways we could take it, but I think that's why I think that the old self never truly just like dies. You know what I mean? So how do you handle those days? Cause like, I hear that a lot, right? Like the whole, like, hey, I've got all these results in front of me, but all I see is every flaw, every whatever. How do you handle those days?
I think verbalizing out loud what accomplishments you have achieved and
I love that.
What things you see in your body that you love about yourself. And, those kind of things are super important. And I'm not a big person on journaling. That's just, I know there's a huge value of journaling, and I definitely see that, but I've just never been able to stay super consistent with it. So mine is more like a spoken kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'll just, sit there and talk to myself. Honestly, sometimes like, I am strong. I am powerful. I have the ability to change. I deserve to succeed. All these different affirmations.
I love that.
And incantations, are super important, and things that I'm, continuing to work on each day.
That's super huge. Cause like the first thing that I notice when you say that is you're not hiding it. You're not suppressing it. Right. That's where like so much of what we've been talking about for everyone listening. It's you're fixing things from the stem, right? From where the like, it's why I have my tree tattoo. It's why I wanted roots exposed, because we have to handle things at the root cause if we want things at the top of the tree to be flourishing. Whereas when I said what mindset and mental shifts did you go through, and you said, it's even just believing I can do it and thinking I'm capable. It's like, we'll pause. Without that, nothing else matters. Literally, if you think you're too far gone, if you get any success, you'll lose it. You'll sabotage it. But without the belief of like, this could actually happen. I have this piece of content I wrote where all you need is just a little bit of the smallest bit of belief and hope. You don't have to be fully bought in yet, but when you go, this is on my radar, that I think it's actually, I have a thing that I do every day. I'm a fan of like mental, like crazy mental conditioning and whatnot. I have on the background of my phone what's called monthly possibilities. I stole this from Ed Milet, where he does this he talked about doing this every month, but I want it in front of my face every day, where I just need to know something's possible. Right. So I may have no idea how I'm going to do it. Like I'll have like stupid fucking goals that I'm working on, but I'll see it every day of, well, this is at least possible. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm not even fully bought in. I can do it, but it's possible. Right.
Yep.
But that was like the first thing you said, is like that it's even possible and I'm capable. But then when you have those rough days, you don't go, well, working out's my therapy, and go work out. You don't suppress it. You go, okay, I have to flip the switch in my head. So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's super important. You have to just always, acknowledge that if you keep suppressing the bad days, they're eventually just going to boil over. So you have to you have to get them out, and it's okay to have bad days. I think that's one of the biggest things I've realized about this process.
Yeah, absolutely. Holding space. It's interesting. Holding space is one of the most powerful things we can do, but a lot of times people don't do it because it hurts, but we do it for everyone else. It's like, if you have a little kid that got stung by the world's biggest bee, you don't like, and they're freaking the fuck out because to them is the world's biggest bee. You don't say, hey, little Billy, chill the fuck out. Then mommy will hold you. We accept first. We go, come here in your fucked up state. Come here. And in half the time, accepting fixes it. It's why mommy's kisses always work, because it's accepting, not fixing. They accept it. She accepts the bad. She accepts the boo boo or whatever. And in accepting it, it ironically fixes the problem. Or like, if like, I know, Chase, if I had a rough day and I called you, I'm like, dude, I just need to talk. You would go, what's up, bro? Like, you would just listen. You wouldn't say, well, I need you to chill the fuck out first. And I need you to get your shit together and calm down. Then I will listen to you. We do this great with anyone else, but with ourselves, we don't hold space, which is what the point of journaling is, or standing in front of the fucking mirror and talking with yourself, or meditating. There's so many tools in the toolbox for this. But it all boils down to holding space.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love it. So for you, how to word this, when it comes to like this side of stuff, like for why have you been so successful? Why, you've kept 150 fucking pounds off, right? Of course there's going to be fluctuations, but like, you've kept your transformation. You didn't like go back right to 382 pounds. Why was it? Why did you keep it? How were you able to keep it off? I should say.
A couple of different areas, I contributed to a few different things. One, I think, would be accountability. And that has come in multiple different levels, all the way from my first friend to, my friend Brandy, who challenged me to the weight loss, hold me accountable in the beginning. Then I got super fucking vulnerable and started sharing my weight loss journey on social media.
Love that.
I'm not saying that people need to do that to be successful, but I found that super helpful for me, was getting it out there. And people wanted to see the continued updates and how I'm doing. And I just continue.
People root for you, dude. I love that. That's such a big deal.
Yeah, I had a huge amount of support with that. And then so that accountability, then accountability of a coach. When I hired, my first coach, Josh, really helped me through all the rough days. I mean, like, having someone to be able to reach out to when you think you've failed and for them to tell you that you haven't is one of the best things that you can have in your corner. Like I remember, and I've told the story before where like I had this one day, like this was back June 2019 when I had gone pretty much the majority of that first part of the year without any binging. So I have a binge eating history, and we were having an office party. I was leaving my current job and going to work in the ER instead of I used to work in psych and mental health. And when I left there, they threw a going away party for me, and I ate like 2 or 3 plates of food. I had like 2 or 3 plates of dessert. Like I just went ham, like had an amazing time, but like I really just like kind of just ate whatever I wanted.
Sure.
And while it was great, I left that night thinking, holy shit, I just ruined my progress.
Killed it, like gun to the head, like destroyed.
Yeah, like why even continue? Like, and then of course, there's negative self-talk. This, I knew I couldn't do this. This happens every freaking year. I can't do this. And I text him, and this is actually before he was even my coach, but I text him and was like, hey, I really screwed up today. I ate a ton of food. I ate way more than I wanted to. I really screwed up. And he was like, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy the food? I was like, yeah, I had a great time. And yeah, it was really good. He's like, sweet, get back to normal tomorrow. Like, that's it. Like, you didn't ruin anything. Just go right back to what you're doing tomorrow. Yep. And I was like, like that was my first epiphany when it came to like, you can't fuck this up.
Yeah.
Like you can have awful days. You can have an awful week, honestly, and still be completely fine.
Sure. This is why I'm sorry. I have something on that, but I want you to finish your story. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, and so like, yeah. So I mean, like, so that got me right back on track. So having the accountability of him, and then, now I'm working with another coach, Jordan Lips, and he's, we're working on training. So I have accountability from the nutrition side, the training side.
Like I've done a podcast with him. He's a good dude.
Yeah. He's awesome. Love Jordan to death. And from there, just continuing to have accountability from my friends, and, have a really close friend group that we have a group chat. We are constantly talking, and like, it's almost like, and yeah, and I have like a therapist now, like, like I see a therapist for a lot of these problems. And like, I have all these forms of accountability that I can lean on at any moment and have support. And that has probably been the biggest factor. And, honestly, just all the concepts I've learned throughout this process, it's a trusted process that you're going to have ups and down days, that you can't screw this up. Like I just mentioned a few moments ago, these kind of things just kept me realizing that this is a process. It's not linear.
Yep.
Not every day is going to be a great day, and just keep going, put one foot in front of the other. And when you stumble, just get right back up.
Yeah. I love that. Well, that's why, like, the thing I noticed within those stories was all of the forms of accountability you just listed have nothing to do with like working harder or being rougher. You know what I'm saying? Like it was all like your coach literally said, it's fine. Get back on track like normal. He didn't say, well, we got to do more cardio. Well, now no carbs for tomorrow. Well, now we got to lower your calories. Well, now you fucked up. Like he didn't like go in like from the negative side. He goes, hey, it's fine. You enjoyed yourself. Just get back on track. It's no big deal. And then all your friend, like everything from your therapist, your friend groups, your other stuff, it's all from the standpoint of like love and support in a positive way, not in a self-deprecative, well, you should have known better. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I want to add, sorry to interrupt, but I want to add something there. I just thought of, I'm sure you've heard of the concept of like grit and grace, right? So like, it kind of makes you think like, it's almost like all of this support and accountability that I have all these people, they help me provide the grace.
Yeah.
Like that's where I suck, is giving myself grace.
Sure.
I'm good at giving myself grit. Like I can push myself through, and I can beat myself up anytime I want to.
Yeah.
But I need that support and that accountability group for the grace side.
Yeah. It's a dichotomy for sure. Like that's one of the biggest questions I get as a coach is people go, where's the balance of like discipline and standards and grace and forgiveness? And it's like, exactly. Because if you're only grit and discipline, well, and there's no love and grace, it's like, it's self-deprecative, right? It's harming. It's harming. But then if you're only grace and forgiveness, if we want to call it that, then you don't do anything. You don't show up for yourself. So like, where's the dichotomy? It's in the middle, right? It's like, it's the whole big reason behind my newest addition to my tattoo is this clock. Cause it's what I call the dichotomy of time, right? The constant battle of you have plenty, but you're running out. It's like a sense of urgency, but being present. So everything good has a dichotomy, everything, you know what I mean? Like relationships, kids, work, management, leadership, all of it. But that's one thing I noticed when you were telling those stories is all of your support system is from a loving standpoint. And that was the other thing that made me think first when you were talking about your other coach. What was the name of that coach that when you texted that night?
Josh.
Okay. So, and this is for like, cause I get a lot of coaches that listen to the podcast too, and this is where like, when coaches get crazy imposter syndrome, we all struggle with it. I struggle with it myself. Right? We all do.
All the time.
But the fact that like you had your, like, you know, we talk about our lives are made up of little bitty moments that like slowly pivot to where you're at now. Like if you looked at your life, if I had to say what 5 moments in your life got you to right now, you could say that one, that like whatever, same thing for everybody. Well, it sounds like that was one for you when he said, hey, just get back on track tomorrow. It's fine. Like when coaching, because I see really good coaches are the ones who go, I feel like I'm not a good enough coach, but they would have given that exact same advice versus the coaches that think they're great. And like the ones that like don't struggle with that at all, that they're shitty. They're the ones that are like, well, you got to work harder, or like, well, let's dial calories back down. It's like, wait a second. If you would have just said what Josh says, is, hey, you had fun. It's not going to touch you. Get back on track. You're a good fucking coach, right? Like that sometimes the best advice we can give as a coach is not fitness information, is not work harder. It's almost the opposite. It's like, hey, I'm glad you have fun. Let's just dial back in like nothing happened. And that can be some of the best advice ever from a professional, right?
Absolutely.
I love that. Wow, that's crazy, man. I love, cause like there's been parts of the story I haven't even heard. Like we've been friends for a while now. And like, but, so let me ask you this and we'll wrap up. If there was anyone, well, actually I just have 2 questions. If there's anyone that's in your shoes, like they're 400-pound chase, and there's just like lost, confused, have no idea where to start, where do they go right now? Cause like, right. That's like one of the most debilitating things is like just getting your feet off the ground. Right. Cause it's like so much stuff. Right. And the least amount of certainty. So like, where does someone start?
You know, and this is, I know a lot of people are probably, you know, on the edge of the seat right now. Like, oh, how do I do this? How do I do this? And this isn't maybe the answer that they're going to expect or want to hear, but it's what they need is take that first step. Stop worrying about all the things you have to do and changing everything overnight. Like, guys, like, yes, I did a ton. I did, I mean, and I'm not going to bring up this, you know, just like we discussed in the beginning of the podcast about, you know, the rapid fat loss. Like, sure, you can change a ton of crap overnight, but you don't have to.
Sure.
Literally do one thing. Like I know, like my buddy Brevin, like he said, like he like was walking across campus instead of like taking a ride or whatever, or something like that for a long while. And he lost like 10 pounds, you know, before he knew it, like just by walking a little bit more each day.
100%, man.
Like walk, you know, don't, you know, limit your liquid calories. Like if you're drinking sodas, try to drink, instead of drinking 5 sodas a week, drink 3. Like, you know, like these little tiny things that you think are going to add up. Those things add up so much.
Yeah.
So just take that first step.
I love that. I had a piece of content that did really well. Like last year, it was what I call the good, better, best. Never go with the best option. Just go with the better option.
Yes.
Right. Never I always say, like, let's say you're in the drive-thru at McDonald's because you eat a lot of McDonald's, right? Because whatever. Like I love Wendy's, right? Wendy's is my fucking jam. Wendy's nugs, 400 calories for like I could tell you, like, break down the whole fucking menu calorie wise. Like one of my little things, I always say nugs, not drugs. Because I'm all about that 10-piece nugget.
I support that.
Yeah. Nugs, not drugs. And never go with the best option, right? Because if I say you're rolling through the drive-through and you always get, let's say, a large number one. Every restaurant's large number one is a burger and fries and a drink, right? Mm-hmm. But let's say you always get a large number one. Well, what would be the best option? Well, the best option would be getting that salad you really don't want, or like getting just like a grilled chicken sandwich and throwing the buns away and eating and getting like a veggie cup, right? No one fucking wants that ever. No, so that's just going to leave you hungry and pissed off, right? So that's the best option. But what's like the better option? Well, what about instead of a large, you get a small? You still had your burger and fries, right? Like, or you get, instead of a large number one with a Coke, what if you got a medium number one with a Diet Coke? Right? Like never go with the best option. I always say, which is the most ass backwards fat loss advice. But like the good, like just go with the better option. Like that's what I call the power of better, not the power of best. What's like the laziest better option that's still going to make you happy and satisfied, but that just makes a little dent, you know. Mm-hmm. But okay, now I actually have 2 more questions because I popped up my Instagram poll just now. I probably should have done this like yesterday, but like literally like right before we hopped on, I made a post on Instagram. I don't know if you saw it. I basically said, hey, I'm talking about extreme weight loss with Chase. So like, what do you guys want to ask him? So I'm going to pick one of the questions from this that I think is a really good question. You started to touch on it earlier, but we didn't get too deep into it. But I think it's the reason I want to bring this one up because it's a really good question, but also she's been in your situation. So her name is Alyssa. She says, basically, because the question I asked is, what questions do you have? And she said, well, fuck, now a bunch of questions are coming through. We probably should have gone early. We probably should have been like pushed it back or whatever. No, I'm kidding. She said, switching your mindset from deficit to maintenance. I've just lost 120 pounds, ready for maintenance, but she likes the deficit life. Right. So it sounds like, she's had crazy, like 120 pounds is fucking huge. It's a massive deal, but that's a long time being in a deficit. She knows it's time for maintenance, but she is intimidated to go to maintenance.
Yeah. So first you said her name's Alyssa. Mm-hmm. First, I was going to say, Alyssa, let's fucking go. 120 pounds. Like that's amazing. So kudos to her.
That's a human.
Yeah. Like that's awesome. That is an elephant
freaking
trunk. Awesome. So
that is an elephant.
I hope you are celebrating the hell out of that. So first, I guess like right there, like celebrate that. Like first, I want you to acknowledge what an amazing accomplishment that was, and know that this is just the beginning. And it is hard to make that first switch to maintenance. Totally get that, and I think no matter what I say now is going to change that and make you think that it's easier or anything like that. But I really want people to realize, like, you need to switch that mindset to like, all right, now what else can I focus on? Like that was one of my biggest things is like, all right, so now I'm not going to focus on the scale because I know I'm not, it's weird because when you see the scale going down that quickly and you're losing all this weight left and right, and then all of a sudden you have to, like, you're waking up in the morning expecting, because your mind's like, right, hey, every week and every day, this scale's moving down or, at least in a downward trend. You're just waiting for that to, keep going down. And so when you're waking up and you're on maintenance, it's like, all right, I'm weighing myself, but it's not going down. So your old brain says, that's not right. So you have to start telling yourself, and again, this comes out to like verbalizing, speaking out loud, like, this is normal. I'm focusing on maintenance. And one of my favorite people in the world, and I know you love her as well, Susan Niebergall.
Mom.
Yes.
Literally, she is my mom. I like report to her as mom.
I love it. Well, shout out to Susan, because this is where I learned this concept from her, and I love it. And I teach this to my clients a lot now. Is like, instead of focusing on maintenance as just like a place to like kind of stall and like a plateau where you're not making progress, change the maintenance word to the momentum.
I love that so much. That's so good.
Like, it's not maintenance, it's momentum. You're preparing your body for the next round when you want to do this again, but you're making goals elsewhere. Are you getting stronger in the gym? Are you, seeing body composition changes maybe even at maintenance, which is totally doable? Are you healing your relationship with food even more because now you're not worrying about stressing over calories and deficit and all that? What other areas of progress are you making? I mean, I know this past year, and I won't go down this rabbit hole very much, but like, just bring up a quick example. This past year when I started travel nursing, like, yes, I did see the scale go up a little bit but I was also living literally my best life.
Sure.
Like, I had this past year, 2021 was literally like the best year I've had in years, because I was taking advantage of everything I could, traveling, getting around, doing things like, from skydiving to
it's because we met in Arizona. That's why.
Oh, yes. We didn't let me give you that. That was epiphany. That was like, December, like the cherry on top was getting that hug, man.
That's right.
No. But seriously, like, I started stop worrying about that fucking scale. Like that gets on somebody's head so many times. It's like, what else am I capable of?
Yeah.
Like, I went skydiving. I mean, I was hiking like 14ers out in Colorado, like doing some really crazy, awesome shit that like really gets me hyped up.
Yeah.
And so start putting your focus and goals towards what else is my body capable of. And if you start shifting your focus from, and you have to give your mind something else to focus on.
Yeah.
Because if your mind's constantly focused on that scale when you're in that calorie deficit, it's going to keep trying to focus on that. You say, all right, hey, get your mind's attention. Like, hey, look over here. Yeah. Look what else we're going to accomplish now while we're at maintenance.
I love that. It's one of the things I say a lot when people get in that mode is I say, hey, you're more than body fat and muscles. Like
Exactly.
you are so much more than body fat. Like in how much it's all this other stuff. Okay, one more question if you have time.
Absolutely.
Because
Let's go.
we had one. This is just another really good one. I don't think she doesn't have her name on here. It's something. It's like I won't say the username, but it's like Mama something, whatever. So
Okay.
she asked this because this is such a good question. And again, it's someone else who's in your shoes, right? That's why.
Okay,
so
awesome.
She says, how did he stay motivated throughout the entire process? I'm halfway through 130 pounds down. So because I know your answer to this, but I would love it if you would talk about it. So because it takes a long time, right? But she's halfway through 130 pounds, which is another massive fucking gargantuan of a goal. So how did you stay motivated the entire time you were losing?
I didn't.
Oh, sneak attack.
No, I mean, like, dude, all right. So two things on this. One, you can't rely on motivation the entire time. Right. Yeah, I mean, sure, the motivation is great. And yeah, when you're losing weight, it's awesome. But if you're going to try to just stick to motivation all the time, you're going to get, frustrated with yourself. So start having the discipline. You're going to have, pull that out some days when you don't want to go to the gym. You have to just tell yourself, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and say, get to the gym. Like literally, there are some mornings I've literally like rolled out of bed and been like, I don't want to go to the gym. Get dressed. I don't want to go to the gym. Put my shoes on. I don't want to go to the gym. Make my pre-workout. I don't want to go to the gym. Drink the pre-workout. All right, I'll drink the pre-workout. Now I got to go to the gym. Like literally, like I fight with myself some mornings. Like you're just gonna have those mornings. So like start using discipline more. And secondly, the next thing I want to say about that is remove the timeline. Like you have your entire life. Like you really do. Like, I mean, yes, there are some people that have, like a wedding or event or something like that they're looking forward to. Like, okay, that's maybe a little bit different. But for those of us who are just wanting to get healthier, like me, like regardless, I mean, I look back, like, sure, it was awesome to lose 150 pounds in a year, but if that would have taken 2 years, like, yeah, it's a lot longer. And yeah, it probably would have been maybe a little bit harder on the mindset piece. But like, then again, like that's a year of my life.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to rush this process.
I mean, I like to always compare it to something people already have their head wrapped around. Like look, at the time of filming this, it is January 27th, 2022. COVID's 2 years old. Literally 2 years ago, they said 14 days to flatten the curve. Right. That's when and like 2 years went by like that. But everyone's trying to get shredded in fucking 10 weeks. Mm-hmm. And it's like, bro, chill the fuck out. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
I would just say to her, hey, you're doing an amazing job. Keep it up. Keep your eye on the end goal there, but also celebrate your little wins along the way. You're doing an amazing job.
I love it. Now, a question I'm starting to ask all my podcast guests. So we're going to stop there on the ones that people are asking about you. So final question before we get into where people can find you. Whether this is weight loss related or not, this is more just like Chase as a human. Okay. What is some of the best advice you have ever been given?
Oh man.
Right? What a question.
Oh, I feel like you should have let me prepare for this one at least.
Nope. Usually these kind of things are what comes to our heads, right? First thing, right? So
I'm trying not to use one that I already just used earlier.
You can. It's what just some of the best advice you've ever been given.
Trust the process. Like I don't know, like I said, and I said that earlier, but there's so much importance behind, and this could be for anything, not just weight loss.
Well, I'm sure you do this with your business, with travel nursing, with like everything.
Everything. Yes, like you're going to have the really awesome days. You're going to have the really bad days. Just realize that life's going to happen the way it's going to happen. Control what you can control, release what you can't, and just live your life to the best and win each day.
I love that. Love that. Dope, man. Well, because you have my official endorsement as a human, like where can people find you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's probably the best place to connect with me at _Chase. Also same username for TikTok. Yeah, I'm loving TikTok now. Trying to be like Jared someday.
wait till people quit referring to you as your name and a coach and they start calling you a TikToker. That's when you made it.
And then also, you can always find me on Facebook, Chase Smith, or my Facebook group, Chasing Health with Chase Smith. Also got a podcast as well. Mm-hmm. Jared had a pretty dope episode with me a while back. The Chasing Health podcast. Go check it out.
I love it. Awesome, brother. Well, I love the fuck out of you. Thanks for coming on.
Love you, man. This has been incredible. And I really want to point out also, this is where it just comes really full circle. I remember back, and this was in 2019 when I probably first started following you on Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like you were one of the ones that I looked up to. It was like, all right, this is someone I need to actually follow. Someone I need to pay attention to. And dude, look at this.
I didn't know that, man.
We're sitting here on a podcast.
I love it.
Chatting.
I had no idea about your journey. And that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So
I
want to thank you. You're one of the ones.
Man. I love it, dude. I appreciate you, man.
Of course. Appreciate you.
All right, my friends, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of the podcast. It means a ton to me. I know it's a little bit longer one, but I know Chase has such a crazy story, doesn't he? It's insane. I hope today's episode inspired you. I hope you got some tactics and some strategies. And if anything, some hope. It's like, okay, if that dude can do what he did, there's no reason I can't do what I want to do. So if you want to connect with Chase, definitely, I'm suggesting you do it. He gets the Jared seal of approval with his content and what he puts out. So if you're interested in whether it be working with him or wanting to see his content, I'll put his contact info below and his socials and things like that. Otherwise, if you haven't already, be sure and subscribe to the podcast. The podcast, as you guys know, is now on YouTube. So be sure and subscribe there. Check out all the links I have below because I have a lot in the show notes. Everything from if you have no idea where to start with any of this stuff. If you're newer, go through my free course. It's down there as well. Go join my free Facebook community called Fat Loss Simplified. I do a lot of bigger trainings in there that are totally free, just like this, and you get access to all of them. And then, as always, if you are like, all right, I need help and I want to get the help I need, and you want to lock arms and maybe potentially apply for coaching with us, I'll leave a link below there. Otherwise, guys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you next time.